Episode 9 is set to deliver tons of new experiences for the viewer by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really curious about when it comes to this movie is, of course, exactly how will J.J. Abrams tie this film into the prequels, the originals, and other forms of the Star Wars canon, etc. So, we do know that Episode 9 is getting closer to the end of principal photography, which, by the way, ends at some point in time next month of February of 2019, this year, and a lot of things are happening for this film now that we are getting close to the end of filming. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this movie when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. However, when it comes to one of the big subjects for this movie that has all to do with George Lucas. I don't know if you guys heard about this lightly before in the past, that George Lucas would be directing a single scene in Star Wars Episode 9 that has all to do with the character of Luke Skywalker. Now, this is all going to be done next month of February 2019, the final month of shooting for Star Wars Episode 9. And the reason as to why I'm so excited about this is because I think it's just something that is respectful to the creator of all things Star Wars, George himself. And not only this, is that it's also a great way to show the fans that Disney and Lucasfilm are listening to the fans and they want to throw one scene in there that's at least directed and at least, also written by George Lucas and how he wants things to go. So the fact that it's going to be for a Luke Skywalker scene, that it will be shot next month of February, I think is a great thing. Some people out there may think it's a bad thing that George Lucas is going to direct a single scene in Star Wars Episode 9. The thing that really does surprise me is that it has all to do with the character of Luke Skywalker. So Luke Skywalker, having a scene in this movie that will be directed by George Lucas, where George will actually be telling J.J. Abrams what to do and how certain things should happen. Now, George did this slightly with Solo: A Star Wars Story. He changed things here and there for a sequence that was shot inside of the Millennium Falcon. It was a short scene. However, this time with Episode 9, it's going to be a more significant matter when it comes to exactly what's happening in the plot of this movie. And this is really getting people to really think right now on what this actually could mean when it comes to George Lucas. Now, could this be a sequence where he will be directing a Luke Skywalker Force Ghost sequence? That's a huge possibility for sure. It could be that, or it could be one of the flashbacks to come in this movie. Now, that is one thing that J.J. Abrams is bringing back to the table for the final installment of the Skywalker saga, is the use of flashbacks. And though I do know that a lot of you guys out there don't agree with flashbacks, which is perfectly fine and okay, but George Lucas, whether he's directing a flashback for the character of Luke or a Force Ghost scene for the character of Luke, I think I'm okay with either or. Because at this point in time, I think that we need all the help that we can get with Star Wars Episode 9 in order for fans to really enjoy this movie. Right now, Disney and Lucasfilm, they have a lot on their plate. We do know that if this movie isn't successful, we really don't know where the franchise is going to go, what's going to happen with the new Star Wars trilogy, some of the spin-off films that they do have in store for the fans. Things can always change. If Episode 9 turns out to be a major failure, who knows what's going to happen for the future of the Star Wars franchise. It's probably a good idea that they do plan to take a hiatus for one whole year for Star Wars as a whole. They're skipping 2020, apparently no movies are coming out, and they're focusing primarily on television. So George Lucas getting involved with this film, I think is a great thing. Personally, I think it's something that's not only an honor to him as a person, but also as a creator. I mean, if you think about it, we wouldn't have this Star Wars franchise right now if it weren't for George. It really all comes down to George Lucas. So, Episode 9, the one thing that I'm truly looking forward to is exactly how the character of Luke is going to be used in this movie. How Disney, Lucasfilm, JJ and crew, and George Lucas for that single scene, how they're all going to treat the character of Skywalker in this movie. And that's another thing that I do want to bring up, is that We're not going to get a lot of promotional material for the character of Luke, by the way, in the form of teasers, posters, art, etc., at least for the first wave of Star Wars Episode 9's marketing. So that could mean a couple of things here, is that they do have a lot of surprises in store for the character of Luke, or it could also mean that he's really just not going to be in this movie as much as we think he is. Now, he is going to be in it a whole lot more than how he was than The Force Awakens, that's for certain. So it could be the reason why. However, in Wave 2 of the marketing, he could also be included as well. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.